The smell of sweet magnolia and burning flesh permeates our history. Die hard your heroes, the old southern maestros who strummed the swinging rope.
Hello everyone. I'm Pamela Coons at the Wellness Radio TV. In the studio with me today, I'm very honored to, as they say at church, introduce to some and present to others, Mr. E. Stanley Richardson, who is the first Alachua County Poet Laureate. Mr. Richardson, it is an honor to have you here.
Well, thank you.
You have been here with us before, and just hello, Frances Poe, my sister in Harvest, Alabama. For those of you who might be wondering, what is a Poet Laureate and why is it important? This is a huge honor, the first one ever named in Alachua County. There was appointed by the Alachua County Commission. This position has been named in various capacities in the United States of America since I think 1937 was the first Poet Laureate. And Mr. Richardson, to have been given this dubious honor, I congratulate you, and I just think it's amazing. What is it that you did that made them select you over the other candidates?
Wow. It's just myself. I've been doing the work, I think, to be an advocate for poetry and poets and creative writing, and to just encourage others to express themselves through the art of poetry, spoken word, and storytelling.
Look, and just by virtue of the matureness that I see here, you have not always thought that you were a poet. And that's very interesting because you've written a book. You have a book called Hip Hop is Dead, Long Live Hip Hop.
The Birth, Death, and Resurrection of Hip Hop Activism. This book. And so you've been writing, but you didn't think that you were a writer. Your mother was an English teacher, right? My mother taught a lot of different subjects.
Okay.
She was an educator.
Okay.
My mother started the first Head Start in Alachua, where I'm from. But my father was an English teacher.
Oh, your dad. I knew somebody who taught English. So you were around linguistics all of your life, and DNA-wise, it's in you.
Yes. My father was a dictionary freak, so to speak. You one of those things where you didn't know a word, go look it up in a dictionary, then use it in a sentence type thing. So there are a few words that really, when I think about my dad, certain words come to mind. Him having me look them up in a dictionary. Like one word is attrition, and the other one is gullible.
Attrition and gullible. Interesting. Wonder why does that stick out for you? You don't know?
Maybe we were in the A's one day and the next day we were in the G's. I don't know.
Look, you, so in your role as Poet Laureate for Alachua County, we're talking to Stanley Richardson, who is the first appointed Poet Laureate for Alachua County. Such an incredible honor.
Yes, once we went through the process and I was officially appointed, but it was a long process. It was months. I think they did a call for artists maybe early in the year, maybe March or April, and they didn't appoint the Poet Laureate until a few weeks ago. Right.
So then you have this event. What was that like for you trying to get ready for that?
Well, it was a short process. I was appointed. I got an email, I think the following day, telling me that I had this event coming up, and if I could, would I write something for this particular event, which is a very, very important, monumental event. It was the memorial for the lynching victims in Alachua County, and it was through the Equal Justice Initiative, and one of the processes that the counties have to go through is called the Truth and Reconciliation process. And to bring these markers back from Montgomery, from the Lynching Museum, and of course I said yes. It came in an email. I said yes, and then maybe maybe the next day, it really dawned on me. It kind of like settled in exactly what I was asked to do. So I immediately went into prayer because just try to get myself in a place where I could write something worthy of my ancestors.
Yeah.
So it was a process, a slow process. I just immediately got my one of my notebooks, and I would just as I began to meditate, and I wrote down just things that came to me, words, phrases, over a period of maybe a week or so, and then afterwards I had pages of just words and phrases that by themselves really didn't mean anything. So now it's like a puzzle that I had to assemble all of this and to make it something.
And boy, did you make it something. And you talked about honoring the ancestors who were lynched. But Stan, in your poem, The Oak Tree Spoke.
Those were actually two separate poems.
But the oak tree apologized for being there. I mean, you really went all the way. The ancestors and then the tree apologized. If I wasn't here, had I not been here. That was incredible.
Century Oak. A conversation with the tree. As I walked by, the tree cried out, "Why don't you hold me anymore? Sit beneath my shade. We barely ever talk like we once did 100 years ago. I know you blame me for being deep inside us, hidden in the blind spot of memory, all of our pent-up pain. We must feel. I know you blame me because if I had not been, they could not have dangled your brother, your sister, your father, your mother from my limbs. There would be no blood on my branches. I would be only brown, like you, with green hair, without tinge, with no hint of red on my wood. Please forgive me. Had I known, if I could, I would have plucked myself up by the root. An elegy for black bodies, 1867 to 1924, Truth and Reconciliation, Alachua County, Florida. Bonfires and backwood family gatherings beneath the live oak canopy. Sprawling Confederate ivy. The smell of sweet magnolia and burning flesh permeates our history. Die hard your heroes, the old southern maestros who strummed the swinging rope, emitting the strange familiar sounds of the peculiar instruments played down south in Dixie, killing us. But I wasn't there. We were all there, just as we are all here, bound by our systemic, assembled together, not by happenstance or accident, but by a divine power, much greater than ourselves, urging spirits, ghosts of bystanders, terrified, afraid, quiet, complicit, loud, boastful, howling, guilty, innocent, ancestors, taken, you, dazzled by strangeness, enthralled by spectacle, dangling black bodies, suspended in atrocity, swaying in the breeze of white supremacy. You reveled in our terror, our inherited horror, trauma passed down as gifts carved into us. You took pieces of us, souvenirs. You took pieces of us, heirlooms, relics of our commingled existence. But I wasn't there. We were all there, just as we are all here today, in this place. At this hour, we confess. We seek a collective mending. We endeavor to heal historical wounds. We seek atonement, recompense through our reckoning, forgiveness through our efforts. We grapple with deeds. We struggle with words, inadequate language, with every uttering your name. Victims of sanctioned violence, we acknowledge your humanity. Taken, given, we honor you with hymns, lifted from the backbone of our blues. We celebrate you in our mourning. We give reverence to your eternal spirits. We vow never to repeat such atrocities again. You, who have waited too long for us, we bid you solace. May your souls rest in everlasting peace.
Stanley Richardson, who is the Poet Laureate for Alachua County, his responsibility is to raise the awareness of the spoken word and to encourage others to tap into whatever message they're getting from wherever those messages come. You know, you said you went into prayer. That ceremony the other night was so powerful. How exhausting, or was that exhausting for you to bring that together? Because you're going to be called on repeatedly over your tenure as Poet Laureate. And yeah, you're just going to have to come up with some stuff, Stan. And you got it all in you.
Some stuff is going to come easier, and some is probably not going to come so easy.
Mm-hmm. Are you concerned?
No, I'm not.
I didn't think you were.
Not concerned. I wouldn't use that word, concern. I'm maybe a little nervous, but I'm always nervous before when I get ready to, go before the people. Mm-hmm. Just want to make it right, and we come from a background, a spirit of excellence. That's that's the generation I come from. When we did everything, if you're gonna, my father told me, if you're gonna do something, I don't care. And I tell my kids the same thing. I don't care if you're washing dishes or sweeping the floor or whatever it is you're doing, do it with excellence.
Yeah, do it.
Or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the poems and the lighting of the candles the other night, that ceremony of honoring the men and women and children who were lynched in Alachua, the domestic terrorism that happened in this county on this soil. What was that like, that whole experience that night for you? What was that like for you?
It was a funeral service. It dawned on me even when I went into the process of writing for this. It's a funeral. a funeral
that they never had.
That they never had. So it was a powerful experience. I think. Yeah. It was,
and I'm very honored.
And to see all the people there too.
The place was standing room only.
Yes.
And let me just say, I'm so thankful to God that I was the one sitting next to this woman when you finished. And she leaned over to me. I didn't know her. She didn't know me, but she leaned over and said, "Who is he? And where do I get his book? He is incredible." And I'm so happy that I was sitting there so I could tell you that came from an audience member who didn't know you and didn't know me, and how powerful what you're doing is and how God is using you. It is incredible. And so
who would you say was using me?
God.
God.
What did I say?
You said God.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you said it again.
Yeah. And you know, Stan, I'm honored to know you, because I know that there's so many great things ahead for you, even greater on a national level, because this can't be kept just in Alachua County. I mean, after all, you're on worldwide at the Wellness Network. All these people from all over the world who are watching you right now. Your work is incredible, whether it is on stage or whether you're writing. So congratulations to you and what you're doing, what you've been called to do.
And you mentioned being called to do something, and I'm just part of a team. Mm-hmm. The other part of my team is my wife, Carol, mm-hmm. and I couldn't do any of this without her. And it is so wonderful to be married to a person who knows you as an artist. She told me I was an artist before I would say it myself. And I was coming out of a rather dark place, mm-hmm. and where I was forced to seek God's face and just cry out to Him and rely on my faith, and then she showed up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
and told me that I was an artist and asked me to say it because I couldn't say it.
And, you know, a very busy, accomplished woman herself, yeah. Carol Velasquez Richardson, I don't know.
She's a director.
She's a director.
She directs
and
me.
And she's your wife, so she's doing a lot of stuff.
And lots of stuff. Yeah.
I don't know which is more difficult, her being your wife or you being her husband, because you all are both very busy, and I think it is a God thing that you all were brought together.
It's definitely a God thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So what is it that you see that you're going to be doing to honor this role that you've been selected to do, to help continue to lift, as you said, some of the responsibility you're already doing? And I think that's so critical. We see and hear so many things about our young people who, the arts are the first thing that get cut when it comes to public education. But to have a program like this that helps to encourage them to express themselves mm-hmm. in the written and spoken word, I think is very powerful. So how can young people get involved in this who have not already been a part of your youth program for Art Speaks? You
can go to Art Speaks GNV, our Facebook page. That's Art Speaks GNV. Or you can go to artspeaksgnv.org. But there's an event page there that you can sign up or leave comments, or you can email me at estanrich@artspeaksgnv.org.
I want to thank everybody who's watching. Forgive me for not saying hello to you, but I appreciate all of you all who are watching and who are willing to share this. This is a very powerful thing that's happening in Alachua County, to have the first Poet Laureate be an African American man who is doing an incredible job of raising the awareness and helping to educate others about the importance of the written and spoken word, Mr. Stanley Richardson. I hope that you will come back on a regular basis, and anytime you want to. You have a collection of poems, and we can air them on Wellness Radio TV. What do you think about that?
That'd be great. We're in the process of doing another book.
Another book?
Carol told me that I need to write another book. So I guess I need to. Well, I already have it written. They're in these boxes.
And so it just needs to be put together.
Right. Just assembled and into a collection. But the poems are already there. I've been writing poems. These poems for years now. And like I said, I had them in boxes and under the bed and wouldn't share them with anyone. And when I met Carol, she said, "You gotta share this stuff, and you can't just keep this to yourself. You got to share it." And
so this is the first sharing of it. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word flowed with the rhythm, and the rhythm flowed with the Word, and the Word and the rhythm was good. In the beginning there was hip hop.
Amen.
E. Stanley Richardson. Hip hop is dead. Long live hip hop.
That's the best part.
The birth, death, and resurrection of hip-hop activism. That's his first book with much more to come. Mr. Stan Richardson, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and be with us here at the Wellness Network. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
On this incredible honor.
Thank you.
Do you know that puts you in the history books of Alachua County?
I know now. I mean, I wasn't thinking about that earlier on, and then I started getting all these calls about being the first African American poet laureate and that kind of thing, and just being the first poet laureate for the county. And I just got a letter from Congressman Yoho.
Congratulating you?
Congratulating me about being the inaugural poet laureate for Alachua County.
Oh, well, we need to get you in D.C. before he comes home, because he's not going to be running again, right?
That's what I heard.
Right. We need to get you in D.C. Congressman,
well, you make it happen.
I'll make some phone calls.
Okay.
Mr. Stan Richardson, Alachua County's first poet laureate. Maya Angelou was a poet laureate. Frost, and you are among some very prestigious people who have carried that honor, and it's just amazing. And do it, brother.
Thank you. God bless.
We thank you all so much for joining us, and any time that you feel like you are inspired, just write. Right, Stan?
Yeah, write it out.
Write it out. Get your pen and your paper and just write. Sometimes we wake up in the middle of the night or in the mornings and we think we're going to remember what's being spoken.
You have to, for me, it's fleeting. These thoughts, these words, these images, whatever they are, they come and they're like vapor and then they're gone. So and I've learned over time that you won't remember it. So you need to write it down right then. So I'm never without pencil and paper.
All right. And you do the same, because there's a poem in you. There's a song in you. Just write it down. Even if you're just writing it for yourself, just write it down.
And there's healing.
And there is healing in you as well. Well, I thank you all for joining us on this Sunday afternoon, and certainly looking forward to bringing the Alachua County Poet Laureate back to the At the Wellness Studios so that you can hear more from him throughout his tenure. And I do appreciate so much you all sharing this moment in time with us. Make it a good rest of your evening and a fantastic moment. I'm Pamela Coons at the Wellness Radio TV. Remember, there is healing at the well.